Alright guys, we're going to do something a little different because I've been on finessing the AFRs and it's just taken forever. I do have a full report on the GT40s, not the GT40Ps, but the GT40s that I got to get on the air. But I ran into these. And you're going to say, well, Charlie, what does this got to do with cylinder heads? Listen, if you're going to do cylinder heads, you got to have music. Otherwise, you're going to lose your mind. First of all, you're already kind of lost your mind if you're even interested in doing cylinder heads. FYI, just so you know. Okay. Well, I've been using these little pokes for a while in the garage. They don't really cut it. And besides, I stole them from the pool area. They got to go back. The pool's ready to go. Okay. So, what these are is a set of H.H. Scott S3 speakers. And I saw them on Craigslist and I said to myself, you know, they might be nice. I could put them right above on my empty shelf, right? And they'll blast right behind me. And I said, you know, I want to take a look at them. The guy wanted $30 for them. So I went there with my volt ohm meter and I checked them. They're 16 ohm, but I don't care. I know enough about amplifiers. I'm using this piece of junk Onkyo I got. I can't tell you how many years ago in the shop. And you know, if the ohms don't match, so you lose some power transfer. Big deal. These are probably only rated at 25 watts anyway. They were built between 61 and 65, so they're at least as old as I am. They've never been touched before. In fact, they're really tough to get into. It looks like it's got a walnut veneer on it. They're in pretty good shape. Yeah, they got a couple little scuffs and stuff, but what the hell? They're 60 years old. You know, probably. They're all completely sealed. So what you'd have to do to get into them is you have to literally pry. These are like a fiber strand board. Got to pry them off and you get some screws on the inside. And because I'm a freaking nut and I love audio stuff, I've been doing that since I was a kid, you know, what's it got to do with cylinder heads? It doesn't have anything to do with cylinder heads. You don't like it? Don't watch it. I don't know what to tell you. But you're going to get a lesson on even older vintage hi-fi stuff can be really good. I'm recording, baby. It was good, baby. Okay, a couple of the things that I liked about it is, you see that screw? It actually has a brace going from the front of the cabinet to the back of the cabinet, right? Take a look at how it's built. It's all completely sealed, right? Dovetailed, right? I don't know. I'm not a carpenter, but, you know, joints that are fitted, right? It's got a real veneer on it. I think it's a walnut veneer. Heavy chipboard. Look how thick it is. It's at least 3/4 of an inch, right? It's a 3-way. I really prefer 2-ways, but these came by, and I said, you know what? My dad always liked Scott stuff. In fact, the first tuner he ever gave me was an old Scott tuner. I don't know what happened to it. But what we need to do is we need to get into there, inside of this, because the pots, the potentiometers that control the mid and the high, the mid-range and the tweeters, got severely corroded after being so many years old. So the only thing that plays right now is the woofer. This is actually the second speaker. This is the first one. This one, it's being re-glued, and I have some weight on the boards, so they back where they're supposed to be. Okay. Now you can see the way it was originally done. These were heavily glued, so you have to take them off and get behind this. And there's some wood screws that fasten the front plate. The front plate has got everything mounted. Well, everything. All the drivers are mounted to it. So you got to take that out. All right, hidden fasteners. More hidden fasteners. Okay, now it's a ported cabinet, which means it's got a tube that transfers the sound waves from the inside of the box to the outside, but in order for that to work, the front panel needs to be sealed relatively tightly. So this doesn't come off, so I just took a big wood screw, put it through, put a pencil on it so I don't ruin the veneer, and I'm going to lightly pry the whole front panel off. Okay, 3 of the 4 corners needed some screw action to pry off the... Basically, they have a sealer in here, which after almost 60 years is stuck to the wood pretty good. Okay, this is a good sized screw. Looks like a 3/8 16. That attaches the brace from the front to the back. Yep, 3/8 16 bolt. Okay, you can see the brace. Why is the brace an important thing? Well, it keeps the front board and the back board from vibrating independently. It gives it a much more solid sound. This is actually quite a solid little wood cabinet. And you can see the fiberglass, being even 60 years old, is in pretty good shape. Now, the drivers, there's a couple of really cool things about the drivers. They're actually made in Denmark, all these drivers. Some of the important things about it: cloth surround on the woofer. Never rots. Okay? It's got a good sized ferric magnet on the woofer driver. The tweeter, small Alnico. If you don't know anything about magnets, Alnico are really strong. Right? And the sealed mid-range, got a little Alnico on it. Okay, I don't know if you guys know about crossovers or not, but that's pretty badass. The coils are called inductors, okay? Inductors pass low frequencies easily. They do not pass high frequencies easily. We've got some ceramic resistors. We've got capacitors. Right? You've got a capacitor here. You've got a capacitor here. You've got a steel capacitor. 2 microfarad steel. So, the capacitors pass high frequencies easily. Now they have an RC combination here, right, with a variable resistor. What they do, when you do a combination like that, you change the frequency crossover to that driver. One of these is for the mid-range, the other one is for the tweeter. So one coil is going to go to the woofer, past low frequencies. The other ones are part of the crossover for the mid-range and the tweeter. It's really a nice design. Now, I didn't know about this. I mean, I saw these for sale, and then I did some research on them, and I'm like, all right, these have some really nice components in them. And even if I get them and the drivers are fried, that crossover is well worth the $25 I paid for these two. Okay, now to give you an idea of what it's only $25 today, which is nothing. You can't even buy lunch for $25. These sold for $134 and like 61. Convert that to today's money, they're over $1,200. So they weren't exactly cheap junk when they were brand new. So for a couple hours of work, I'm going to take those pots and I'm going to pull them apart. I'm going to show you guys exactly what's in them, what goes bad on them, and we're going to get these rocking. Okay, you can see the corrosion on the potentiometers, but it's interesting. They're actually ceramic in the back, and they have a metal housing that's held together with a spring clip, so you can take them apart. Now, on the inside is a wiper, a resistor we can show you, and a little tiny spring. You lose a little tiny spring, you're done. Let's not do that. Okay, you can see the wiper, how much corrosion is on it, right? Let's shrink this down. World's tiniest spring. Of course I lost the first one, but I just made a spring out of some foam. Works perfect. Take a look at the corrosion on that. That's the really hard part. And you see the wire, the silver wire, that's actually resistor wire. So all of that needs to be cleaned up because it all has corrosion on it. All right, hope I don't repeat myself because I don't remember what we wound up doing already. All right, the wiper needed some serious work. All right. The pot needed some serious work. I'm going to put it all that together now. This one I did not lose the world's tiniest spring. Hopefully I can get it together with the world's tiniest spring. All right, finish off that potentiometer with a little contact cleaner. Rub it back and forth a little bit. Time to assemble everything. Going back together. Start putting the screws back in. Do the front screws first. And then get the bolts from the back. Yeah, I know it's only the garage, but what the heck? A little of this stuff that I had from the Long Island house. We had some dark furniture. Bring some of the life back to that old wood. They're actually in really good shape. A couple nicks here and there, but heck. Like I said, they were built in either between 61 and 65, so they're not really new. Not sure how that's going to show up on camera, but they look pretty darn good. Okay, getting it prepped to put the veneer top and bottoms on. Now, I'm not going to use wood glue to put them back on. I'm going to use a little silicone because the wood glue held them a little tight. And if I put silicone on there, they'll come off easier again if I ever have to take these apart. Really not a bad looking piece. Alright, some of the blemishes, like this corner, it's real wood. So if you give it a light sanding, you can even use a little wood filler on it if it needs it. And you won't even see it when it's done. Pretty presentable piece actually when it's all done. Now, for a song that I won't get copyright infringement on. That's my daughter's song. I can play that all I want. They can't give me copyright infringement for that. At least I hope not. Alright guys, I know it's not cylinder heads, but how much of that can you really look at? Come on, you gotta differentiate yourself a little bit. Now all I gotta do is lift these monsters up to those shelves without breaking my neck. And they're not lightweights, they're heavy. So, I think I'm gonna let the whatever this is called. It's an oil. It's a dark oil, basically. I'm gonna let the oil soak for probably a day. It's quite hot in Florida, so no sense in running the bench or anything. Hope a couple guys enjoyed this. I had fun doing this. It was a little different. I know it's not cylinder heads. I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Have a good night. Thanks.